Hello, you're welcome to Discuss with Ibrahim Fatoyinbo. On this episode, on Discuss with Ibrahim Fatoyinbo, we will be discussing a very interesting topic that everybody needs. We've always engaged in it in one time or the other. The topic is research. Research is a phenomenal topic that's cut across all fields, right? So without further ado, let's delve into the nitty gritty. What do you understand by research? Research is a systematic and organized process that involves collecting data, documenting significant details, analyzing and interpreting the gathered information. I take that again. Research is systematic. That is to say that research is not done abruptly. It followed a procedure. It is procedural. So you follow a procedure to achieve a result. That is an example of what research is all about. It is systematic, following a system, a laid down process. So, an organized process that involves collecting data, documenting significant details. So, when you gather data, the next thing is for you to do was to analyze it. After analyzing, you can now interpret the data that you have gathered, and that's why we said research is a systematic and organized process that involves collecting data, documenting significant data or details, I beg your pardon, analyzing and interpreting the gathered information. I take that again. Research is a systematic and organized process that involves collecting data, documenting significant details, analyzing and interpreting the gathered information. So when you gather it, you analyze it, and you do what? You interpret it. What are you saying? 20% of women says men are scum. 45% of men believe that women are materialistic. That is the way you analyze your data. Moving forward, research is a methodological, all right, from the word method, process that involves gathering. You gather information, you gather data, you scoop information, right, and carefully analyzing data in order to find a dependable solution to a recognized problem. Dependable solution, like a reliable solution to a problem. So it's not that it's a temporary, that means they have researched it, they've identified that this particular thing has been tested and trusted. Therefore, it can be adopted, it can be replicated. This will now move us to some of the features of research. According to National Open University of Nigeria now, in 2008, as referenced by Asima et al. In year 2022, the following attributes are identified as key aspects of research. The first one is that research is characterized by its systematic nature. Research is systematic. Research has distinct characteristics and features that attribute to its unique nature. When you want to understand the attribute or characteristics of a concept, understand the definition. You realize that from the definition of what research is where we are getting its attribute from. Just follow through, you will get that most of the attributes of research are deduced, are inferred from the definition of research. So systematic. So research has distinct characteristics and features that contribute to its unique nature. So in essence, there exists a clearly defined collection methodologies and protocols process, all right, that one must follow, all right, to adhere to while engaging in the process. So systematic, like I've explained, there's a procedure that you must follow to achieve a result. Attribute of research, it is what? Systematic. It follows a certain procedural process to achieve a result. The next one is research is logical. Research is logical. Logic is a systematic and rational approach to drawing conclusion or establishing reason. So when you carry out, don't forget, we said when we talk about the definition of research, it said after research, dependable solution. That is to say that if you can depend on a solution, that means that solution is logical. You've understood that when I carried out a test, a doctor administer a particular medication, I'll get well. Some people even believe that they don't like taking medication. They like taking injection, it's faster for them. So depending, so we can now look at the category of people that certain things work for. So from there we can now, that means when we are looking out for categories of people, that means we are researching, we are finding out. And when we are finding out, we must be very systematic about the finding out, the procedure, how we go about finding out those people that medication works for, and some that they believe that, oh, it is just injection, they are fine. All right. So research is logical. And that's why going to scripture, when Holy Mary, Mother of Christ, conceived, everybody was wondering, like, it's not logical. As how did it happen? Someone who never had a counter with any man. So how? So, but in the spirit realm, it is logical. But when we look at things as human here, looking at how somebody can conceive and give birth to a child, it has to go through a systematic process. All right? And the process was altered in the case of Holy Mary. And still, child was given birth to. Right? So that is where we talk about logical. You must, it's reasonable that you are able to see, like, oh, this particular thing, if we do it like this, we'll be able to achieve results. Research is logical. All right? Research is empirical. Research is empirical. Research is empirical. Empirism is a philosophical approach that emphasizes the importance of verifiable and objective facts. In chapter 2 of your research, 5 chapters if you are undergraduate, in chapter 2, there is what we call empirical review. That is to say, you are checking other scholars, what they have done in relation to your own work to justify your work. You can say Ibrahim Fatoyinbo 2003 carried out a research on storytelling in advertising, and you realize that his result was this. And this year, you want to carry out storytelling, the use of storytelling in media or in presentation or anything. So you can tell us that, oh, Ibrahim Fatoyinbo has done something like this before and he achieved this. So when we talk about empirical research, is something that you can be able to reference. All right, you can be able to deduce. It is verifiable. And that's why you see scientists, when they go into the lab, there are procedures that they need to take to achieve a certain result. Even all these carbonated drinks we are taking, they are having all ingredients that they must put at different time, different degrees, to achieve the same taste for consistency. So you can tell me for a fact that, oh, Coca-Cola, for example, now, because they go through this process of putting water, from water they do this one, they do that one, that is to say they achieve Coca-Cola. Therefore, when you replicate it, you will achieve the same result. That means you can reference it. You can reference it, right? So that is empirical. The next one is what I've said, empirical. Replicable, not empirical. They sound the same way. That's why I'm just. So the first one is empirical. The next one is research is replicable. Research is replicable. That is to say, the process of replication plays a crucial role in the validation of research, as it helps to establish evidence and encourage the practical application of findings. Supporting research is crucial for its success and significance. The process of replicating is crucial for its success and significance. The process of replicating a study involves conducting the same study again, utilizing identical method. The importance of replicating lies in several key reasons. First, ensure the validity and reliability of research finding. By replicating a study, researchers can verify if the result holds true under different conditions or with different participants. Strengthening. So what we are saying here is that If you are telling me that if we have 5 persons here, if you give them, if you put them and there is no light or there is no ventilation, they will react somehow. Some will throw up, some will vomit. That's a research. You experiment out in a conditioned environment. All right. So next time, if me too, you've done that in Lagos. I'm in Sokoto, and I read that research. Let me now put people in the same room too, and let me be able to achieve the same result. That means I'm using your method, and I should be able to rely and get the same thing. That means research must be replicable. You must be able to replicate it. So, like I said, research is a product. Theories are product of research, right? They are product of research. For example, uses and gratification theory. We believe that media audience uses media content to gratify their needs. So it is out of research. Someone came outside to find out, carried out audience analysis, media audience research, and they find out that media audiences uses to gratify. They use the content to gratify their needs. Most of you've screenshotted a lot of things on your phone, hoping that one day you'll be able to purchase them. Well, Temo has helped you anyway, so you can still make some of those things happen and shop like a billionaire. So let's talk about research is deductive. Research is deductive. Research is characterized by its deductive nature as it aims to condensate intricate observations into logical, interconnected proposition that seeks to provide explanation for a particular subject matter. Deductive reasoning is that a particular topic is given, right? And this observation is observed carefully and analyzed to ensure that only relevant variables are considered while irrelevant variables. So when you look at things, deductive reasoning is for you to be able to observe something, and at the time you be able to connect nexus that if certain things, if 1 plus 1 is hard together, you get this. That means that's what it's still it's still related to logic, because deductive under philosophy, we have deductive reasoning, we have inductive reasoning. That's under philosophy. So, and it's under logic. So I would say that talking about research is deductive too. It's more of being logical, connecting the nexus together and achieving similar results. Quickly, let's talk about the types of research. The types of research that we have. The first one, when we talk about types of research, everybody there are several ways that you can go about your research and achieve different results depending on the kind of research you want to find out, right? Depending on the kind of, because it's not every time every clue we have different clues for different occasion. So that's why we have types of research. The first one is historical research. Historical research. Historical research. Historical research, as its name implies, is the primary goal of this kind of study is to learn more about historical occurrence. If you want to write a biography about the Shango, you need to go to Oyo State, you're going to go to Ile-Ife to find out what happened. That means historical, what has happened in the past. So it's a form of research. So when you go back to find out what has happened to certain heroes and heroines in the past, is a form of historical research. And historical research has its procedure, has its methodology that must be deployed so that you'll be able to achieve the good result. So historical research is one of the types of research that can be depending on the kind of research you have. And for example, when you want methodology of historical research, is either you use a primary method or secondary method. A primary methodology is for you to go on the field, like me visiting Oyo, visiting Ile-Ife, visiting several places to find out, to scoop, to get information, to interview people, to get information from them for your research. While secondary data collection under historical research is talking about you referencing materials that is similar or that is in line or in concordance, right, with your own research findings too, or intended research. Who has written about this Shango that you want to go and find out? Has there been any materials? So you can reference them. While you go on the field, you can now juxtapose or put those two together to achieve a result. So let's talk about descriptive research. Descriptive research is the kind of study that aims to learn more about the current condition. It aims to learn as much information as possible on certain issue. It aims to gather information and fact regarding current event. Research that aim to describe a record, present situation or attitude, either what is happening right now, is said to be a descriptive research. Now, if you want to look at what is happening in Nigeria, fuel was 1,000 coming to 865, and you can now look at a descriptive analysis, like what is happening now. So you can use that to that's a research that is talking about descriptive situation. How do people respond to increase in the price of fuel? Price of commodity will escalate, everything increases. So it shows that there is a particular thing that if it happens, it affected other variables. All right. So that's why you now look about the descriptor say it's learn about current condition. It aims to learn to learn as much information as possible on certain issues. So it aims to gather information and find regarding current events, what is happening now as at now. So that's descriptive research. Let's talk about experimental research. Is a scientific method where a research actively manipulates one variable, that means independent variable, to observe its effect on other variable, dependent variable, aiming to establish a cause and effect relationship between them by testing a hypothesis in words in a controlled environment. It's considered the most rigorous way to test causal relationship between. So experimental is more of scientific, because you said to is scientific. So looking at experimental, for example, we are talking about the independent variable and dependent variable. Look at this example and this scenario, and you will understand better what experimental research is all about. A researcher wants to study the effect of a new study method on student test score. Like a researcher wants to study the effect of new study method. That means how the students are studying, right? A researcher wants to find out. So a researcher wants to study the effect of a new study method on students' test score. Like if they change the method in which they are using to teach them, will it result to another thing? So they randomly assign students to two different groups. A group uses the new method and the other uses their standard study method. Then they compare the test score of both groups to see if the new method leads to significant high score. All right. So there is a particular method. You just imagine that you people sitting in your class there is not, like I think I gave this example once upon a time with some of my students, that there is no air condition, there is no fan, and you are learning like this, and some of you are performing well, some are not performing well, and some say like, see, I would have loved to perform tremendously well only if this condition of this class is improved. So they now said, okay, let's put some of you inside this class that there is no fan, there is no air condition, and we now created another class for another student that there is fan, there is air condition, there is even using projector and good public address system, and they gave both of you the same test, and they now look at it like, those people under no fan, no air condition, did they perform well more than those people? So that is experimental research in a nutshell. Let's talk about ex facto research, ex post facto research, I beg your pardon. So this kind of study carried out after an event must have occurred and using data that are already available. That means secondary data. Event that has happened before. That means ex post, right? Before. No, after, I beg your pardon, after an event. So here, it is a methodological and empirical study in which the researcher does not in any way influence or modify the independent variable, since the scenario which the researcher wishes to analyze is already in existence. So they are not manipulating anything. The scenario has been there, it has happened. What happened in the answers? Why were people stampeding? What led to the crisis? That means it is the post, it has happened. So you can't influence everything, you can't manipulate anything. Everything has happened in the past, and you are now checking them, not historical. All right. So this incident under investigation has already happened, as they are not manipulable. You can't be manipulated. The independent variable in this kind of study are out of the researcher's control. Researchers can't control anything. Everything has happened. All right, it has happened, and you are now checking what happened, what led to this particular thing. It's different from historical research. All right, so ethnofactor research is looking at what has happened in the past and looking at what happened in the past to find out and to connect the nexus to the present. So let's talk about the ethnography research. Ethnography research is a qualitative. You need to all these types that I have mentioned. For proper understanding, you have to further read them up so that you'll be able to classify them under quantitative and qualitative. All right, some of them falls under qualitative and some falls under quantitative. So ethnography is a qualitative research method that involves immersing oneself, putting yourself in a community or organization to understand their culture and behavior. The goal is to gain rich insight into how people see and interact with the world around them. So ethnography is not just for you to say that Igbo people are bad, their culture is this one is bad because of what you have been reading on these citizen journalists or other people that are just writing nonsense the way they feel about their own sentiment. But as a researcher, and that's why as a communication scholar, you don't see things or hear things or read anything and start posting. You must verify. You must verify. So it is your finding, meaning that you're finding as a researcher, that means you are contributing to knowledge. Exactly. So how do they go about ethnography research? That I said it is qualitative in nature. It's not quantitative, it's qualitative in nature. So, like I'm talking about the categorization, so this is qualitative in nature. Now, participant observation, interview, field note. So you can participate, you go to their village, you sit down, give me this food. Look how how are they welcoming? All right. So you find yourself among them, you interview chiefs. Why is your culture like this? Why? So you can help them allay misconception. And that's why if you're a filmmaker or intending filmmaker and you want to make a movie that is interesting, you must immerse yourself in what research, findings, go and research, go and find out so that it's going to be relatable to those audience and you'll be able to educate people more. So notes taking, you can go even on NYC where you are posted to, you can document about them. That is ethnography research. The last one I'll be discussing is the exploratory research. Exploratory research. Exploratory research is a method of investigation that's used to explore new or under research topic. A new or under research topic is often used to generate hypotheses and ideas that can be used in future research. Exploratory research investigates research questions that have not been in-depthly researched on. The preliminary results often lay the groundwork for future analysis. So, exploratory research questions tend to start with why, how, and the goal is to explain why or how a previously studied phenomenon takes place. Why were twins killed then? Why? So exploratory is to explore more the reason, the thinking of the people then. Why would you say you don't want to send a girl child to school? You can't condemn them. You need to go and find out. That's where you talk about an area that is not well explored. They explore the why, the how of it. Distinguished student and listener, we have successfully discussed what research is all about. And we said research is a systematic and organized process that involves collecting data, documenting significant details, and analyzing and interpreting the gathered information. And we talked about the National Open University now in 2008 as referenced by ASIMA in year 2022, gave us some attributes of research. And the first one is research is systematic in nature. It follows a process. Research is logical. it follows a logical process. Research is empirical, right? It's something that has happened, who has done something that you can look at it and you can reference. Research is replicable, you can replicate research. The next one is research is deductive, and afterward we delve into what types of research is. The first one, historical research, going back to the past, finding out, writing a biography, finding out what happened in the past, research about it because it has a methodology. And I said you can use a primary, a secondary methodology. Going to the field is a primary, and the secondary is referencing what others have done regarding that particular topic. The next one is descriptive research. It's a kind of study that aims to learn more about the current condition, what is happening now. So experimental, like I gave the example, experimental, you see them putting a particular tube as scientists, they put one or two variables together, they manipulate it to achieve different results. And the example I gave to you was the condition environment on condition to see if students will respond to those things differently. And after what we talked about the ex post factor research that talked about, it's a methodology and empirical study in which the researcher does not in any way influence or modify the independent variables, since the scenario which the researcher wishes to analyze is already in existence. So X factor research is something that is there already. It's not something that you want to start looking about the factors, or you want to be putting as a scientist, putting them in different groups for you to achieve a particular result. And the next one is ethnography, and here we extensively discuss studying a particular culture, going there to observe them, putting yourself, meeting with them, and we said that ethnography is a qualitative research methodology, and the exploratory, which serves as the last one, is asking the why, the how do certain things happen. Distinguished students, I hope this particular topic on research has really helped you very well. Please share with all your communication students in other institutions. This will definitely benefit them. So I hope to see you in other class, in other segments of Discuss with Ibrahim Fatimbo. God bless you and have a good time.